Call the names. Wake the room. Wake the room. Wake the room! Lou, Rex, Pam Ray, Naomi, Afasiana, Babbler, Monarch Soul, Jojo, Gray Eyes, fill my eyes. Poets assemble. No masks, no manners. Say it plain, or say it broken. Monday night in the garden of enlightenment. Low light lit minds, every line got intent. Clock ticks crooked and the room turns vigilant. Quiet so loud you can hear what the tension meant. Then it slips after midnight, manners get murdered. Nice little masks get cracked by a word or a murmur. Twisted Tuesdays twist truth till it turns on its heel. Clean cut faces go strange when the dark gets real. You can feel that shit, that slick little slip when the grin stays sweet, but the eyes don't sit. Like the room grew ribs, like the walls grew ears, like the hush got hands and it's pulling you near. And the words don't rest, they press. Put a heel on the chest, leave a dent in the breath. Every line like a knock from the back of the brain. Like you came in one shape, you won't leave the same. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, Wednesday breaks, parts in the parts, ink down the spine, half halo, half hazard, both hands in the light. In the yard, a seduction walks soft through the smoke. Silk on the tongue with the blade in the joke. Books and bards wakes dust in the depth of the shelves. Old ghosts lean out and start naming themselves in a craft and sullen. Up the ache gets a voice, pain stands up street and makes silence a choice. Then break on through when the devil gives way, when the masses sink but the pulse says pray. Echoes in the dark go hunt the fear, that thing when no name starts ringing in your ear. Say it, say it. Fill my eyes with poetry, don't water it down. Let it bite, let it bloom, let it burn through the crowd. Bad company grins like a bruise, dressed smart, and rhythm and rhyme puts a boot through the heart. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, some come shattered, some come slick. Some speak honey with a blade in it. Some sound velvet, some sound wire. Some walk in low and take the room higher. Some come holy, some come liars. That's the thing! This ain't filler for the dead space, no. This is pulse with a pen, this is blood with a nickel. This is breath to the backbone, ink with the crown. Live mics, live nerves, truth laid bare in the round. This is the beautiful mess, the bruise and the bloom. The line that cuts clean and makes a little room. Late souls, wide eyes, all nerve in the dark. A room full of hearts beating hard through the dark. Wake the room, wake the room. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. night poets. When the clock slips past polite, we tell the truth. LNP, we love you. Stay frosty.
Hello and welcome to Break On Through. Here you can travel realms uncharted, blur the lines, break the chains, open yourself to possibilities waiting to be discovered on the other side. I am Pam Ray, and with me is my co-host Intimitus Rex. Rex and I are poets on a website called All Poetry with a group of poets called Late Night Poets. If you find tonight's show is not your cup of tea, please check out our other shows. We have 1 to 2 shows per night on a variety of styles of topics and poetry, something to suit everybody's taste. Also, make sure when you get a chance to check out the poetry anthologies put out by Late Night Poets on Amazon, because when you purchase those, you not only get amazing poetry, you help support these radio shows. And hello, Rex. How goes it?
All right, what's going on?
Oh, let's see. Today was an indoor day. Couple days before my birthday, I tripped and I think I pulled a muscle or something. And, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm one of those people, if I start to feel slightly better, I think I'm completely healed and I push myself. So, like the other day, I not only went for a long walk and did some cleaning, but also I noticed and then the day after, it was like the pain just flared up again. So today, even though I did do some cleaning because it had to get done, I spent most of the day inside, honestly, laying down, just kind of, trying to give myself that extra time to heal rather than saying, okay, it's time to go for, a 5-mile walk because you feel slightly better. But it was raining anyways most of the day. So that made it a day to be inside. And of course, as always, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you and other cool poets. How about you? Did you get outside today?
Yep. Mowed
Nice.
lawn.
That's always heavy work, or that's very time consuming for sure, especially with a big yard. And that will keep you busy. And I saw you have got a contest judge, so I imagine you'll be coming up with an after midnight contest pretty soon.
Yeah, I've got that set.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to that. And it's really cool to see the people we got hanging out in Podbean. We've got, not Podbean, sorry. Oops, I just had a flashback there. StreamYard. We got Macris and Jojo, Vizago, and Robbie. And of course, I can't see them, but I know we have people listening on YouTube. So, hello to all of you. Hello to our YouTube listeners. So I hope. And Robbie says that for once, me and him have had opposites, opposite weather. And Jojo says Pam's rain gets here late tonight. That's right, John. I'm blowing it your way. I'm just go forth to Jojo. Oh my gosh, too funny. And so it looks like people are getting different rain at different times. And well, like I always say, the rain offers a lot of benefits. So I try not to complain about it too much. Unless, the good Lord or one of his angels or, I don't know, Thor himself comes down and tells me I need to build an ark. I'm not really too worried about the rain because I know it's making everything look green and beautiful and growing. So, right, Rex?
Yep.
There you go. There you go. All right. So tonight's show is a bit of a mix and match. The first two poems that we have are from the carryovers from last night's Art of Seduction. And then we will go into poetry inspired by quotes and artwork of Paul Rand. And then we have one other small contest that I ran. And I had the board open to open abstract and surrealism. That really didn't get a response. We do have one right from JoJo, which is not abstract or surrealism, but it's just one that he was nice enough to share with us if it's needed. And so we've got a decent board. We've got about 19 on the board, I believe. Which is definitely a decent amount, and some great poetry being offered up for sure. I definitely, as I always say, I just look forward to delving into it. And yeah, all right. I got to get forgot to get my StreamYard page opened on the Kindle Fire so I can post links. So I just need a quick moment to do that. And all right. All right, Rex, what do we got first?
Eve Revisited by X-Ray Mike 79.
All right. And I will give that a read. Sorry, give me just a moment. Thought I had grabbed that link, but apparently not. All right. All right. Eve Revisited by X-Ray Mike 79. And it goes like this. The garden pulsed with green, unbroken light. I knelt where rivers split and shadows bent. A serpent gold as dawn coiled round me tight and pressed its mouth to mine. A sacrament. It whispered not of fruit, but slid a word against the soft roof of my waiting mouth, a sound no beast or bird had ever heard, bolt of first lightning, burning north to south. I'd been created from a sleeping rib, bone of his bone, with neither will nor choice. My throat knew only silence, speech, forbid, a stillborn language waiting for a voice. So when I parted lips of teal and gold, I did not eat. I spoke the garden's name. The beasts looked up as though the world grew old, and every breath I loosed remade their frame. He heard me first, the man who shared my clay. He did not flinch from sin, but from the sound. A woman's voice that would not fold to pray, a tongue that tore the silence from the ground. Then came the Lord, his brightness cold as stone. He did not rage about the bidden fruit. It was my mouth, my language, mine alone. The crime was speech unleashed at Eden's root. I walked through thorns, gold dripping from my lips. The serpent wound around my throat like song. Each word I spoke cast Eden in eclipse. I'd given it the gift of being wrong. End poem.
Great read there, Pam.
And
Thank
you're
you very much. Um, well, there's a nice quiet voice in this of Lilith that underlies this, so I like that, even though it rang on that note of Eve revisited. So, and I do like that picture. It kind of there's a quiet note with that picture, and the voice that comes out is that idea of willingly walking that note where the serpent offered up something and offered up the fruit, the forbidden fruit, and took it willfully, gleefully because of what came with it. That idea of walking in newness and with a voice outside the world of Eden itself. So that that back end, each word I spoke cast Eden in eclipse. I'd given it the gift of being wrong. Ooh, that's that revises the Bible history, don't it? As well as the Bible. Note of huh, where everything began, and we suppose they all went wrong. And the idea is Eden was wrong. Nice touch with that.
great observations there, Rex. Yeah, I thought this was a great take on the chosen prompt. I really like this poem. I have to say, I did not find it particularly sensual. Maybe I think in the beginning there's some sensuality, but it's really a strong poem. Like I actually added this to my list of poems I think are awesome. And I think it would have fit much better on a show like Break On Through. Um, and But I love the imagery and the metaphor, the rhyme and flow of it. I like the philosophical element, the idea how it speaks on a woman, the Eve, but this is also to me a representation of all women finding their voices. Um, and the idea of the voice of a woman being feared, being something that makes people angry. I like the first person narrative, and I thought there were just really great lines throughout. But I did especially like the first two and last two stanzas. Absolutely a powerful write by X-Ray Mike 79, and very well done. All right. Back to you, Rex.
Strawberry Roads by Vazago. We stopped on a roadside in Norway. Summer doing what it does best. Girls in sun hats selling strawberries like it's tradition written into the land. Always sold out. Buckets empty. Smiles full. The guys further down, same sun, same berries, full tables. I nodded to them anyway. Respect. Brought a curve. You want to see this? I said. She looked around. Forests, water everywhere. Is this sea? I laughed. No. Taste it. She stepped out, cupped her hand, tried the lake. Surprised. Fresh. Real fresh. Back in the car, she took a strawberry. Paused. That face. You don't fake that. This is sweet. I stopped again. Cream, sugar, of course, sugar. 2 bowls from the hotel, 2 spoons, a quiet grin from the waiter like he knew. Door closed. Strawberries, cream, and the rest I'm not telling. And poems.
Great read there, Rex, and what an amazing sensual write by Visago. I'm glad he shared this with us. I see it got a well-deserved gold in a contest. Yeah, and I also saw that he has the song "Cream" by Prince, the video in his uh, attached to the poem in his AN, which of course, strawberries and cream. Yum, yum. That is absolutely delicious. Such a wonderful, sensual experience, a treat for the senses. Um, I like his use of spacing in this. And I also like how it captures a very a personal moment, like personal, not in like a sensual way, but in the way of just, taking those roadside trips together. Like he says in the beginning, we stopped on a roadside in Norway, summer doing what it does best. Girls in sun hats selling strawberries like it's tradition written down in the land, always sold out, buckets empty, smiles full. I That's one of my favorite parts about summer is, the farmers, not only the farmers market, but you get people selling strawberries and blueberries, and we don't have a huge variety, obviously, as some of the warmer states. But still, it's just the experience of buying that bucket of fresh strawberries. I always buy a big bucket, like, and somebody will say to me, "Oh, you can make jam," and it's like, and I love that idea, but especially when I had 4 kids at home, we would go through one of those buckets and there was just nothing left for making jam. Um, and I got a big kick out of his ending just because of some of the things he said about not discussing how he doesn't like to discuss personal stuff in his poetry, and keep it to himself. About when it comes to sensual writing, when he says door closed, strawberries, cream, and the rest I'm not telling. Oh, well, why not, Visago? Do tell, do tell. There has to be a part two. Oh, but I did enjoy the energy of this write. It was very well done. Oh no, I lost Rex. Can you tell I wasn't looking? I better get him back. All right, gonna do that. Here we go. Welcome back, Rex.
Yeah. All right. This was
So
all
what did
about
you
the
think?
journey. This was all about the journey. That allusion right up front. That thought to we stopped on a roadside in Norway. Summer doing what it does best. You get that note. Girls, strawberries, sun hats, always sold out. Buckets empty, smiles full. Um, Again, allusion to what comes on the back end, but he starts out with that because it is in the journey itself. Again, that note with the second one, guys further down, same sun, same berries, full tables. I nodded to them anyway. Respect brought a curve, and then the roll into you wanted to see this in the back, fresh, real fresh. Again, that note to the journey, the strawberries itself. The idea, it's all in the flavor and the taste and the moment because it hits again on the back end of this. The last couple of cream sugar, of course, sugar, 2 bowls from the hotel, 2 spoons, a quiet grin from the waiter, like he knew. Um, of course, he does. But then again, the finish. So the journey was the outset was that delivery where the strawberries come from, up top, roadside, fresh, picked. Everybody's enjoying them. Right down to the back end of the hotel, where it's again fresh strawberries, fresh creme, and the idea of what comes later behind that closed door.
Hmm. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Great, great comment there. So, and definitely a treat for the senses. I do agree that it is, the focus on the road trip is absolutely a delightful part. What is a curve? Kurv. I mean, I don't know if you can answer this, Rex, but I'm sure since he put it in his poem, Vizago can tell me what a curve is. Maybe. Oh, it's a small basket. There you go. Well, look at that, Rex. I learned something new. And all right. So that was our 2 carryovers from the Art of Seduction. And now we're going to go into poetry inspired by the artwork and the artwork and quotes of Paul Rand. Now, Paul Rand is a little bit different art than I usually do because a lot of times I tend to lean towards what's more abstract or surrealism for this show. He's actually he was a graphic designer and a professor. He was born with the name Peretz Rosenbaum on August 15th, 1914 in Brooklyn, New York. And he died November 26, 1996 at the age of 82 in Norwalk, Connecticut. He studied at the Pratt Institute, Parsons Art Students League of New York. Many of his graphic designs for and logos designs you will recognize and are still in use nowadays. This includes logos for IBM, UPS, Enron, Morningstar Inc., Westinghouse, ABC, and Next. I figured, I'd had it bookmarked for a while, and I thought, well, why not put this out here, see what people's responses are to it. I find his designs really intriguing. I find his quotes really intriguing. And I will say the contest itself did not get a huge response, which in part, I just figured you're occasionally going to put out contests that do that. They don't get a huge response, but also the fact that it's, summertime, it's not too far away from the 4th of July, people are busy, but that is, part of the reason I also ran a pre-writes contest and, had the topic board open for, extra writes. I thought his reading about his ideas on graphic designs and corporate identity is actually kind of interesting to me. So I recommend to people, anybody who hasn't read up on him, just go ahead and do that and, check him out. And of course, I'm like I said, I'm pretty sure almost everybody at one or more points in their life has seen some of his graphic designs that he does. And Jojo says he designed several generations of the IBM logo, including what we call 8-bar. Yep, exactly, Jojo. But yeah, so again, we're going to have not a huge amount of poetry from this contest. We got 9 entries, and but we have enough that, it'll be great to delve into it and, sink our teeth into it. All right. And with that being said, what do we have next, Rex?
Soul Bling by Monty G25.
All right. And we do have a SoundCloud for this. I believe, right? Or do we have a SoundCloud for the next one?
Yep, we got one for this.
Oh, okay. I just couldn't remember. All right. So I will go ahead and go grab that.
to open your mouth and sing. Come on, get into a smooth shuffle. Throw away that trash kerfuffle. A little soul is what you need. Some hip-hop happy seed. Maybe a riff to get the feet tapping. Lift them hands, start clapping. The symphonic stuff is okay, but it don't give you that body sway. Jazz, honey, will give you that zing. Nothing else will start your swing. Hear that tempo swirling in a bowl. That ain't coming from a dirgy blues hole. It's got bebop-baloola and it's going funky. No rap crap, that's way too junky. Are you ready to tap to the beat? Get your butt swaying, shuffle them feet. Just a jump to the left and a step to the right. Throw them hands up and sway them hips tight. That's the jazz way, sweet baby. It's smooth and sultry, ain't no maybe. Come on, you gotta find that swing, honey. You gotta get your body going funky running. Can you feel that beat? Feel that heat? It's going all the way down to your feet. Do it or feel good, do whatever it takes. Any style you like, but don't fall for any fakes. A little twist, a little shake, rattle and roll. Let the music make you a happy soul. It can make you swing, less it's got that bling. Oh yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Oh, that was just so absolutely fabulous. The jazz sound was just absolutely spot on. Jazz swing music was just absolutely spot on for that. Thank you, Monty, for the SoundCloud. It is very much appreciated. And just a reminder, everyone, if you're unable to call in, the next best thing is to make a recording of your poem, because then um, we can hear the poem in your voice or how you would like it to be presented. And I'd like to welcome Robbie to the show. Hello, Robbie. How's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty well. I was talking to one of my friends at the local business plaza, and I was telling her some of the things I got going on, and she was really smiling. She says, "You sound happy, Rob." And so yeah, things have been going on an upswing.
To read and hear Monty's poem.
With Monty's poem, with the poem, I found that the sound really, it all meshed together really well. The sound of it, the Jazzways logo there. Oh, is that? I'm wondering if that's an album cover. It looks like it's something that would be an album cover. And then with the lyrics and the way that it's meshed with the jazz style, it's just got the whole sound and the whole feel of it is all in together, and that's so it just all really meshed together for a very distinct feel, and it really had that old-timey jazz sort of a feel. And especially with "Oh Yeah, a Cha Cha Cha," that's really that old style that I really like. And that, so I hope I didn't talk over you by accident or something, because it sounded like all of a sudden you went into another sentence or something like that, and I got a little confused. So I don't know if I kept yammering on while you were talking to me, but my apologies if I did.
No, you did not.
Okay,
you did not. And I want to say that it's actually the cover of a book, but from what I'm looking at, but I'm not 100% sure. But I do see it available in the library. Oh, Jazzways magazine. Okay, it's a magazine,
Okay.
or it was. I don't know if it's still in existence, but at least it was a magazine. But great comment there, Robbie. Um, and Rex, your thoughts?
Oh, that had some funk to it, kind of the in between before jazz became a little more stringent. So this had a little bit of a big band feel on the back end, but jazz up front with the lyrics and and the upbeat bass to this. So I enjoyed this. This was cool. Picked the right sound for this, Monty. It played well. And it is on that note. It doesn't matter. It it doesn't really matter on the music. It's just letting yourself get into what the music offers up, whether it's rock and roll, jazz, blues. As long as it springs the heart and gets the feet going, it don't matter what it is.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So true. And this one definitely got the feet moving, not only with his choice of music, which was great, but also with his word choices, the rhyme and flow, the language that he used, like the meant bebopalula, and I mean, there's just so many great lines throughout that just gave me this great big grin. But I did especially like, are you ready to tap to the beat? Get your butt swaying, shuffle them feet. Just a jump to the left and a step to the right. Throw them hands up and sway them hips tight. That's the jazz way, sweet baby. It's smooth and sultry, ain't no maybe. Come on, you gotta find that swing, honey. You gotta get your body going funky, runny.
Hey, do you guys
I love
remember
that.
jazz hands? The swinging, the waving of the
Oh
jazz
God.
hands.
Jazz hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that during a dance once. I was taking some swing dance lessons, and at the end of my swing, at the end of like her like pushing me off, I did the jazz hands. And so I said, "Oh, look, he's doing jazz hands, or you're doing jazz hands." That is my life. Yes,
Yeah.
going to a swing class and doing jazz hands.
I do jazz hands just to goof around and embarrass my teenager, and then like jazz hands.
Like, really, really, mom, come on.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, no, this definitely was a lot of fun. Um, all right, Rex, what do we got next?
Over speckled rooster roast by Sea Opal, and that one's yours.
Mine? Okay.
Yep.
All right. That would make sense since, yeah. All right. Getting back to where I need to be. Damn the belladonna night. Purposeless ballrooms for flight. Carnage always for baddie pardons. Lingering masses playing survivor as mermaid offspring drool. Swimming blue-green algae pools. This red marble-eyed ego face observes the obsequious human race with such virginal degradation, waning and waxing window shine, straining visual eremite altars, making senseless observations. Upon the meeting of black sunglasses, blind faces emerge for purposeless parties, sparkling rifles at a champagne moon, wrestling effigy for Gemini goon, rolling stones upon white cottage lawn, an optometrist's fantasy spawn. What gaudy windows to peep from, perched upon a Pennsylvania pony and riding mowers from the station, deflated swamp masses prom, mannequin wearing pampers, the declined, inclined deity boasts, an over speckled rooster roast, and poem. Oh, that was a clever response. She actually was inspired by three different prompts, which I like that she put them together into one image. I noticed one of her tags was Gemini, and I don't know if as a Gemini I should be offended, but I will choose not to be. I just yeah, no, I think this is quite clever. And Robbie, your thoughts?
Well, I'm sure that someone out there is saying, "How Gemini is it of her to not be offended?" or to be offended. I don't know how it works, but
No,
yeah,
I
uh,
do know this is about a particular Gemini, so
yeah. This art style is interesting, and I think it influences the poetry because it kind of bisects a couple of styles. Because I kind of see, well, there's a surrealism to it, but there's modernism, and also I see maybe elements of some like Art Deco, like kind of the fancifulness of it. It's and it kind of influences the poetry a little bit because of how, well, at least in this poem, uh, I'm looking at like the statements of what gaudy windows to peep from, perched upon a Pennsylvania pony, and riding mowers from the station. And I kind of get this feeling of decadence or decline at the end of the poem. Mannequin wearing Pampers, the declined inclined deity boasts over an over. I like this, an over speckled rooster roast. That just makes it sound like someone saying, "Look at me, I'm the cock of the walk." Just like really,
right.
yeah, being the alpha male and overdoing it. And yes, there was a pun in there that I put in there, and the yeah, it just the whole thing really had an observational feel of society. Like observes the obsequious human race with such a virginal degradation. Virginal degradation is very. How do you say? It's a contradiction, but it's the most surreal contradiction I've heard in I don't know, maybe ever. Because virginal is pure, right? But it's degradation. So what would virginal degradation be? Is pure degradation, degradation of purity. That's a very.
I think it's having to do with degradation of that which was originally pure. At least
Yeah,
that's how I would interpret it.
that kind of is as how I that kind of is as how I see it, but it kind of like the way it's made, it kind of threw me off. But it made for an interesting kind of thing to read. It really captured my attention as an image. And you have the waning and waxing window shrine, straining visual eremite altars. I think of waning and waxing, it's like of phases of things, like phases of time and trends, and that. And it's interesting to see how trends come and go. And it's interesting to me for that to see things that actually never quite disappear. You wonder why it is that they kind of always stand the test of time. Like I said here once a couple of days ago, I think the lava lamps, they've never really gone out of style. They kind of ebb and flow. They're more popular for a while, but even at their lowest ebb, you never see them disappear quite, right? Like you see them at Spencer Gifts and all that. So it made me think of like what it is that stays and what it is that comes and goes in terms of style.
I don't know, Robbie. Every time you mention lava lamps not going out of style, I picture you like with a hookah pipes laying back in a beanbag chair. Like,
Maybe
dude,
I am.
like
You don't see me on
lava
the air.
lamps have never been out of style. They're
No,
groovy.
because
Well,
my
they
mind
haven't.
is
They've
running at
gotten more elaborate.
1 mile an hour on this
What's
LS.
that, Rex?
Said lava lamps haven't really gone out of style. They've just gotten a little more elaborate.
Well, see, now you and Robbie now are sitting together, each in your beanbag chairs and your hookah pipes. But great comment there, Robbie. And Rex, your thoughts?
I think Robbie hit all the right notes. This does Art Deco touch with this. I like that. It does have some surreality. It does walk that tone of uh, uh, 1920s. The idea I can't even think of the book now and the movie. Um, it walks on that. I don't know. I'm gonna go with what Robbie said. That Art Deco angle has me smiling because it fits as well.
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I do think the style of artwork that you offer up in a contest or as inspiration does lean itself towards how the poetry is written. And I think to just say that all his artwork is graphic designs is wrong, because you just got to look at he used simplicity very well. He used bold contrasting colors. He knew how to have something that would grab, like, design something that would grab and keep your attention. I thought this had a wonderful satirical tone, great humor, strong visceral imagery and metaphors, and I thought there was great lines throughout. But I did especially like the second and third stanza. Great inspiration taken from all three prompts by C. Opal. Very well done. And back to you, Rex.
We've got Color Chart by Grant G, and that one's for Robbie.
Okay, let me just get to that link and turn on my lava lamp, and we should be all good to go. I knew I would get a laugh out of that. Color chart by Grant G. Oh, we're being goofy tonight. Billboards flash these days, never standing still. Dot dot dash. Flicker flicker online cash. Young folk catch their drift. Old folk get dizzy. Some even end up ill. What's happened to this world we live? To this world we live, AI won't ever give freely in person true personalized gifts. Heuristics flick wrists. Musicians, airists, yeah, flick wrists. Musicians create different riffs. Let's go back to that. Free use of our wits. Surrealist art, people dressing smart, and that's all color charts. End poem.
Great read there, Robbie. And what an amazing write. Okay, first of all, I have to say how absolutely fabulous it is to see Grant. I have not seen him in such a long time, and I'm sorry to say that I guess I was distracted that it didn't even dawn on me that I hadn't seen him in a long time until um, after I saw him enter this poem in the contest. So, Grant, it is so very good to see you. And Rex, your thoughts on this poem?
Uh, well, part of it's biting. That note up front. Billboards flash these days, never standing still. Dot dot dash. Flicker flicker. Online cash. Young folk catch their drift. Old folk get dizzy. Some even end up ill. There's a quiet note to all those things that glitter are the attraction in the moment, but they aren't real. It's just a gimmick. And then he hits up. What's happened to this world we live? AI won't give freely in person true personalized gifts. Artists flick wrists, musicians create different riffs. Let's go back to that free to choose our wits. The idea of spending too much time online looking for that easy, quick note of online cash, flicker flicker, dot dot dash. The idea of it's too easy, it's too simple, and it's turned it's turning your brains to mush because you're not
Yeah,
actually
that
doing
is.
anything except playing
Oh my.
with an angle that has no real intrinsic value.
been doing what is that quick and easy no to set, but it doesn't really help thoughts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, you've been cutting out on me a little bit, so I got confused. Um, the poem really speaks to me on some levels because I really do see this a lot working retail. Oh God, I know like the times that I've had it happen where the store that I work in goes the ATMs go, or not the ATMs, but the registers go, the tills, and there's no, there's no debit. And so many people they're like, oh, I don't have any money. Or, and they go to like we had one night where they went to the bank machine, a whole bunch of people, and the bank machine got emptied out because so many people withdrew from it. And I know someone who I bought his violin, which was not that great, by the way. And he wanted a money order for it. And I said, no damn way. Because he was like a friend of a friend. And I'm not going to create a contact, on my account, on my bank account online, just so that he can sell me a violin once and I never see him again, right? And he said, well, I want to give up all cash. And I thought, well, why? And it's like what you were mentioning, Rex. It reminded me of COVID. It's funny,
Yeah,
COVID come up. Yeah.
that did a lot of damage because those were the only things you're allowed to do is go online,
Yeah.
do this, do that, go ahead, do your drugs, have fun.
Well, I was thinking of how people actually rebelled after a while. They realized how, like with clothes and all that, they weren't able to try it and it wasn't satisfying, and they kind of started to rebel. Like they realized the pleasure of and the value of especially certain items that need a tactile feel and need a tactile evaluation. That's the big thing too. There's some things you just need to be evaluated, like clothes, and you just can't do it online. And people started to get pissed about that and said, I want to buy these things in the real world. So it reminded me of that, and they captured well that feeling, dot dot dash flicker flicker. The funny thing is the dot dot dash also reminded me of Morse code, which is utterly, absolutely, and completely unrelated. I studied it for a little while, but yeah, it reminded me of that as well.
Great
Well,
comment, Robbie.
yeah, they had me
Um,
thinking of the one-armed bandits as well.
oh yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I like what you both had to say. I like how this is about, that online, trying to get that online satisfaction, but also about how AI has changed our perspective on art, and not always for the better. I did really like the wordplay of spelling artist with a capital A and then the small a, the idea that the capital A represents the A in AI. And so I thought that was really creative. And I feel like this is like that idea of how over time, our perspective of what is and isn't art can change. And the idea that you got to remember that part of what makes art um, so important and so amazing is that the human soul, the human spirit of the artist is poured into it. And with AI, you don't get that. You don't get that spirit. And I thought there were great lines throughout. But I did especially like those last two stanzas. So excellent write by Grant G. and very well done. Are things sounding better, Robbie?
Uh, Yep. They're sounding good for now.
All right. All right.
Yep.
Well, if it doesn't sound good, I'll probably have you and Rex hang up and come back. So, because I've
Okay, I'll
done
be
my
just be
part.
on for 20 more minutes. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. And back to you, Rex.
Art Deco meets Liechtenstein after Robert Hughes by Peter Solway. Big Bob, still critiquing for Time magazine. Fishman's Heaven, no objections, thumb up, down. St. Peter from Rome, saying, all the pasta same. The Lord and Chorus, dinner party hosting, Lazarus and fresh Bob risen, art of a commercial Paul Rand, worse than Warhol, cheesy coons. Fashionable craft, fresh air balloons, Magritte been and gone, all graves pondering, the best of mad modernism, the new, always shocking. Smell of fish and gasoline, people shouting, Art Deco coupled with Liechtenstein, derivative stylism as Bob lay dying. Waltzing Matilda, some ghost to whisper, Deco and Pop, know what I mean? Like Hockney recently deceased, living, investing, better stocks, steady watercolors, Diego doing Mexican lovers. Muddied billabong's of Boyd, dragonfly lovers, tangled relationships, Bob with wings, his high-stressed muse, simply quitting, Goya dark-facing. Like Hockney, still hanging for a smoke, all sorts of Freudian satisfactions, swimming pool temptations, late night, Baconian dogs barking. Doomed realism when Paul Rand, son of Anne, comes to Gallery Town. Romeo Munch still screaming. Traumas of a critic's life ongoing, so hard, just quitting, no harmonious choir singing, forget Paul Rand, Liechtenstein, cartoon characters drowning. Bob bobbing under again, the art of threaded criticism, seaweed to spin, time late for payment? Earth of fence questions, drunk without nicotine, underage girls, petrol sniffing, thought coupled with reflection, pop art in question, cool commercialism, the flight back from Spain, Prado catalog in lap open, hostess closing, and Paul. Pam, you gotta unmute.
I am unmuted. Hello?
Yeah, now we
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm just having some problems with my internet going a little bit in and out. But all right, Robbie, great read your
Yeah.
thoughts.
The poem felt like it spoke. Oh, my mic is too far away. Forgot to get it back up there. Yeah, the poem felt something like along the lines of the like the decadence of art movements to some degree, or at least the mutability of it. It really seemed to go and hop around a lot with what the different movements are and what they reflect, or at least reflect to him. Uh, and I look upon the end thought coupled with reflection, pop art in question, cool commercialism, the flight back from Spain, Prado catalog and lap open, hostess closing. It feels like almost literally the travel of artistic artistic styles and that, and it seems to be it's a kind of a funny balance or kind of tension between criticizing and questioning. It kind of makes me wonder about how how much of the poem is criticism and how much of it is just kind of open-ended questioning, like, well, what do I think of this style? What do you think of this style? And his style and speaking of styles, his style does have that questioning tone, because he so many of his sentences have the question mark after it, and it's like it's almost sometimes like, well, what do you think? Although again, I think with his poetry, you kind of have to look at how much of it is him wondering to himself, and how much of it is him questioning it to you, or inviting you to perhaps criticize. This poem, more than other ones, made me think about his style in a broad manner.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Robbie. Yeah, I like the sardonic bite in this. And I do feel like within this poem, Peter has definitely brought forth his inner art critic. But Rex, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, like I said, it's all after Robert Hughes. So he bites on that notion of the art critic and how they age and how they uh, how their voices might change, but how they also might get a little bit more grungier in their critiquing because it's on this Lazarus and fresh Bob Risen art of a commercial Paul Rand worse than Warhol cheesy coons. Like that, a little bit funny there. I thought that was cool. Uh, then he hits on fashionable craft, fresh air balloons, Magritte been and gone, all grace pondering, the best of mad modernism, the new, always shocking. So bites on that idea of the changing face of whether you call it pop, you call it deco, you call it new wave, whatever. There is always that note of a shocking bite as you go from realism into modernism or postmodernism or to um, one angle next one to the next one, and you just don't get the transitions because they never come as a linear note. They come out of the woodwork, um, and you don't understand the motif, so to speak. What was it? Like Hockney, recently deceased, living, investing, better stocks, steady watercolors, Diego doing Mexican lovers. Now that note of taking advantage of some artists because all of a sudden when they go, the the money comes out of the woodwork for the art because all of a sudden you ain't going to get any more of it. So you better glom up what you can in the moment, and people pay high prices for it. What else we got? Uh, And we got traumas of a critic's life ongoing, so hard just quitting, no harmonious choir singing, forget Paul Rand, Liechtenstein, cartoon characters drowning. Kind of hits on that idea of uh, the aging angle of a critic. And there is that note of the idea of it's those who can't do are the critics, and they're the ones critiquing those who do. So it kind of walks on that note of who the fuck are you? You can't do this, yet you're going to critique the fact of who and what is producing something in the moment too, and that ever changing motif as it goes down the line. Uh, and the back end of this thought coupled with reflection, pop art in question, cool commercialism. Again, that note of that thought of how easy it is to transition one thing into commercialism, and all of a sudden, hey, you're still making good money on it, but you're pushing out these uh, little things that you don't have to actually do anything with except offer up the original piece and they run it off of whatever machine they got. All of a sudden, you've got 150 of special price at $2,500 a piece, limited edition, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Very cool. Yeah, I really liked this one. It's got these strong, hard-hitting lines. I like how it speaks on, as you were saying, Rex, basically those who can't tell others what they should be doing. I got a real kick out of the bite and humor in this, like the Lord and chorus dinner party hosting Lazarus and fresh Bob Risen, art of a commercial Paul Rand, worse than Warhol, cheesy coons. I love cheesy coons is like gonna be like my all-time favorite phrase right now. And I like that he gives a nod to the Art Deco, and looks at perspective of changing art over time, and those that we've lost and those coming forth. Um, and the idea that for better or for worse, things are changing for better or for worse. um, New art and artists are popping up all over the place, and there's kind of this idea that you know we we've I think, to me anyways, the idea of moving away from the classics to a point where the lines become blurred on what exactly art is, and the idea that when I mean, it's like opinions on anything else. People will always have opinions on art, and it is about your personal choice. But your opinion on art should just be your opinion, and it can be voiced, but I think not in a way that discourages the artist from doing what they feel moved to do. So excellent, right, and very well done by Peter Solway. And what do we got next, Rex?
uh, Wednesday by Hats. That was yours.
All right, gotta give me just a moment or two. um, and you doing okay there?
Yep.
Oh, come on. All right. Wednesday by Hats. A street singer sings at the top of his lungs to a couple of garbage bins. His nose glows like a red lantern at the crossroads. Violet boots put on gazelle female feet. Red lipstick kisses a cigarette. Smoke rises to the sky and counts down the breath. In the rearview mirror, my girlish fear grows oxygen. As a slave of breathing, I measure time with ashes falling from my cigarette. Fog is not a steam, but a sticky liquid, says his husky voice when handing me a bouquet. End poem. I love her, AN. She says, "What my boiling brain created." That is awesome. And she was inspired by Prompt 5, which I'm guessing. Oh, I see. Yes, it was what looks like a cutout image of a man holding a pair of scissors and a bouquet of flowers. That was a really clever take on that prompt. And Rex, your thoughts?
Uh, all right. You got that opening scene. A street singer singing at the top of his lungs, got from garbage bins. His nose glows like a red lantern. All right, so you know you're already in a part of town where the lead that starts this piece off with is drunk in the streets and singing himself up a storm. And you got that note, the crossroads, kind of offers up an idea of life, crossroads of life. Violet boots put on gazelle female feet. Red lipstick kisses a cigarette, smoke rises to the sky, counts down the breath. There's almost a quiet note there of the girl on the corner. The rear view mirror, my girlish fear grows. To pick up oxygen as a slave of breathing, I measure time with ashes falling from my cigarette. Again, it kind of walks back into that second stanza. And then that thought, fog is not a steam, but a sticky liquid, says his husky voice when handing me a bouquet. Um, there's almost part of this with the gazelle. You get that note of, because you think of gazelles, you always think of they're always prey for somebody. So that, especially with the her being at the crossroads, or maybe the street corner, which would be the crossroads. Maybe it's the crossroads of life. Maybe it's the angle, the transition where you're going from the girlish 20 to 30, and now you're rolling into that 30 to 40. So it's a different angle walked upon. So the rear view mirror is that idea of looking back on one's life. The girlish fear hits on that sort of uh, where does my life go now? And okay, then the husky voice when handing me. So the back end of this another walk back into that idea of life itself. I do like that. The rear view mirror. She's looking back at something, understanding. Hey, I'm not that youthful kid anymore. It might be the thought of dating, getting that first date out of the way.
I like that. Great observations there, Rex. Thank you. And Robbie, your thoughts?
This is the most scenic I found and atmospheric. And it reminded me of how you have like almost like it had a pseudo Victorian feel to it for me, of like the almost like the woman who's out at night and is scared, and just with the scissors, and that, and then it made me think about that, what that must be like. I think that sometimes, especially like as a man, you can forget the, you know, what that what that might be like, and especially back in those times. And it just I've been thinking about that kind of thing more and more, and that this poem reminded me of that. And there's a lot of imagery of like kind of almost like a back alley or like streets in that, like at the crossroads, violet boots put on gazelle female feet. You have the in the rearview mirror, my girlish fear grows, and so there's a lot of this kind of tension of, she of being on this, like, and she's a street singer, or or is it actually this street singer external to her is another character? I have to look at that, but but it's that feeling of, the tension of where they are, and what's happening. And that's the thing, that the tension is in the body. In the rear view mirror, my burly, oh gosh, I'm tongue tied today. My girlish fear grows. Oxygen as a slave of breathing, I measure time. As a slave of breathing, I measure time. And that's like to me a feeling of when you're so anxious that your very body and its regular functions feel like they're laden with tension, like you're sweating, even the very breath that you're breathing comes in labored breaths, and so a lot of tension that way. So that's the impressions I got. So I'll take off now, but I'll
All
continue
right. Well,
through
great
YouTube.
comment, and thank you for calling in. You
You
have a
bet.
good rest of the night.
You too. Bye bye.
Yeah, I thought this was an amazing write by Hats. Wonderful imagery and metaphors. I like with her word choices and use of wide spacing how she did capture this kind of tension and this intensity. The first couple stanzas kind of had a noir feel to me, with her word choices, especially that first stanza. Um, it kind of was like both, it was like raw and gritty, um and I it had me thinking she should be writing for Jean's Art of Seduction contest. But I like how this speaks on the idea of both tension and fear caused when you're alone with someone, and it's that idea of not knowing them well enough, not knowing if you can trust them. And it also feels like kind of like the idea of that tension when you're getting to know somebody. and it's just not really sure where things are going to go, and that fear of what is this going to develop into, and is it going to end up being another loss that I suffer, another heartbreak that I suffer. I think this is just absolutely an amazing write by Hats, and very well done. And back to you, Rex.
Splattered by Ed Hunter. All, of all my days living, I feel this country has gone backward. All humanity's advancements and good deeds towards people have slipped away. Bigotry has become the norm more than ever. What happened to love thy neighbor? Our culture has more selfish wants of power and a diminishing regard for the needy, the old, and the helpless. We are at war again. For what? We have declined to become human time bombs. Condemnation is learned through fake news. Now, something so sad is that our young children are suffering from this terrible disease called hate. Mornings were to be freshly born, evenings meant for peace. As the spirit dwindles between the bark of a tree and its thorn, we all cling bleeding. We are at a loss for humanity. We are hated worldwide. We are back in time. End poem.
Great read there, Rex, and what an amazing write by Ed Hunter. I like the emotional impact of this. It is really a hard-hitting write, looking at the state of the world and a society um, that is leans towards this disease of hate. Um, and I thought there was great lines throughout, but I do especially like bigotry has become the norm more than ever. What happened to love thy neighbor? Our culture has more selfish wants of power and a diminishing regard for the needy, the old, and the helpless. That is so true. I mean, how we treat each other has a big impact on how society works. And sadly, there is so much greed and so much need for power, desire for power, that it does make society fall apart. So excellent write by Ed Hunter, and very well done.
I'm going to go with we have declined to become human time bombs. Condemnation is learned through fake news. There's a reason for that. This has been going ever since the internet was brought up. It's been walking down this road. That note of fake news works on both levels. Uh, it's especially with the idea of everybody hits their news and stuff in 15 to 30-second blurbs, and then move on to the next one, and to the next one, to the next one. You get full of so much crap without actually digging into a story. Why? People have gotten lazy. Why? Because they got so much shit at their fingertips that they don't have to do anything to actually burble through the note of what is and what isn't. Why? Because hey, I got the headline. That's all I need. So then that suffering from the terrible disease called hate. Yes, it's pushed hard. Uh, and why? Because the old guard can't do anything with us unless we're separate. Separate boxes, new angles. You got to have this group hate this group while this group hates this group, and this other group hates everybody. Why? Because you've got people hating each other, then they're not watching what you're doing. And when they're not watching what you're doing, you can fleece the world.
Great comment there, Rex. Um, right. Hey, after you put up the next poem for me to read, would you go ahead and hang up and come back? Because I'm getting a lot of feedback. All right. So I see we have The Geometry of Enough by Zulfikar Hamdam Awan. And I'll go ahead and put that in the YouTube spot and give that a read. All right. So getting back to where I need to be. No child is born asking which side of a border the bread will rise on. Morning enters every window with the same unclaimed light, laying its quiet hand on tin roofs, on towers of glass, on fields waiting for rain. The world, however, has learned strange arithmetic. One table bending under harvest, another counting grains like distant stars. Yet look closely. Every face is a gathering, a cheek remembers ancestors, an eye carries unfinished tomorrows. A mouth is a doorway through which hope negotiates with another day. We are not separate countries of need. We are a single fabric seen from too great a height, where the torn places appear to belong to someone else. But hunger travels, it moves through silence, through neglected roads, through the long corridor between abundance and access. And poverty is not merely emptiness, it is a locked gate standing in the path of a capable hand. Imagine instead a century that measures wealth by the number of futures opened, a marketplace where no harvest spoils while a village waits, a map redrawn not by conquest but by shared responsibility. Then every loaf becomes larger than itself. Every seed carries citizenship. Every meal says, in a language older than nations, there is room. The earth has never lacked generosity, only circulation. The rivers understand this. The roots understand this. Even sunlight spends itself freely. Perhaps wisdom is simply learning from such teachers to move nourishment the way rivers move water, to move opportunity the way dawn moves across a horizon, without asking who deserves it. And when that lesson is finally mastered, the world will not celebrate with monuments. It will be visible instead in ordinary miracles. A lunch packed, a classroom filled, a farmer paid fairly, a child asleep without bargaining with tomorrow. Then the scattered pieces of our human picture will discover they were never pieces at all, only parts of one face, at last fed by the same light. End poem. Oh, that is just an absolutely amazing and powerful write here by Zulfikar Hamdam Awan. And yeah, wow, and just amazing. He was inspired. It looks like, well, I don't know if 12 is the prompt he was inspired by. Let me see, because he does have the number 12, and so I'm guessing that must be it. What is prompt number 12? I have to look here. Did I even have 12 prompts in this contest? By the way, hey Rex, welcome back.
Hello.
Aha, okay, yes, I see that. That definitely does look like people broken into borders for sure. Um, hey Rex, did you get a chance to read this poem?
Yes, it's altruistic, and it speaks on a point where we haven't gotten to that hierarchical angle of the next step beyond where we are now, and I don't see that coming anytime soon, because as long as you've got different peoples, different cultures, different needs, different. There will be no real meeting on a total note of uh, synergy because there is so much difference between each and every set of peoples. And the problem is the acceptance within those cultures of of the one outside, or even sometimes within their own country, that there's a note of unacceptability that is uh, passed on or not looked upon with good vein of faith. So this, although it looks for something that is better, this kind of hits on that note of uh, uh, finding that synergistic place where all things are equal and in tone and flavor. Um, we're a long way from that now, and may never get to that because people are what people are, and if you're going to distinguish, have no distinguishing note between peoples, then you kind of cut out who and what they are, what their backgrounds were, what their religions may be, what their faiths, and if you delete all of that to a singularity, well, you could have the perfect note of what is that sort of Shambhala, so to speak. But people won't be giving up their faith, their religion, their cultures, because it's deeply ingrained in who and what they are as those people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Yeah, I thought this was a powerful write. Really thoughtful and heartfelt lines with amazing imagery and metaphors. I like how it speaks on the idea of how we need to learn from Mother Nature. We need to learn from the earth the right way to give, to share with each other, to make life balanced and better for everyone, to give children the thoughts, not only a good night's sleep because they have their needs met, but the idea that they have hope in the future to look forward to. And I thought there was great lines throughout, but I especially like the earth has never lacked generosity, only circulation. The rivers understand this, the roots understand this. Even sunlight spends itself freely. Wonderful lines and very well done. All right, Rex, what do we got next?
Transport by Bear Dun 7. The long straw has come, grown, summer's power tingles, life simple, complex, in full orchestration, jazz tempos making seasonal winds, almost a silent field, wandering Georgia on my mind. We touch uncommon notes as seasons cycle, uncut, unrehearsed lines threaded below and above every scale, dry threshing floors, sighs what has settled in us in fall, then winter. We sit in audience, in places, in echoes, in inward registrations, music. We were meant to speak, sense, touch, bonded by potential. And I hear Sarah, Billy, Etta reaching out through injected sunlight. Nina, so close inside my radio heart. Transfusions. Still life invocations on turntables of life as Dinah and Carmen circle. My own inner lifeline prayers of love, sometimes desperations. concentric spirals, curated pulses, vinyl Bibles, tickets, invitations, nightclubs, New York City, Blue Note walk-in concerts, filling me with mystical smoke, crosses to internally bear, mothers, sisters, giving birth to thankful stars, hearing us witnessing their sacred chanting, our celebrations, a universe beckoning, celestial, East Third Street brightness, angels keeping heavens, living, glowing rhythm, alive in there, closer than here, through coned doors they prepared the gravel stone paths of life's journey, constantly clear what you came for, mindful as if it were musical, barefoot Zen, true gifts holding white payments, reminders of what is held so dear. Oh, yes, depths, hardships, blues, storm memories, lessons, dancing, inhaling all that jazz, and those distant close, internal embers, weather, carrying wind-borne narrations, always igniting what always burns in our movable, elemental, torrential heaven. Twilights, outlasting last fragments, where whisper echoes still live, down to the gray wind-blown ashes, ideas gently return, set free, yet always linger. We are left with fading light among memories, promises, mystery, out there where we are meant to be. Lately it's been Said and Diana, two whom I deeply love. Smiles aside, not knowing a thing of, and of course they don't know me. Anita and Peggy and oh, what is her name? As memory of flowers are still spring bloom, singing, momentarily she slips off today. Oh, Betty, that's right. How could I forget those petals? The winds of time almost took them away, but I have a rocking horse winter on a summer night porch. My old turntable, always at a arm's length, electric touch, collected records of how we have gone through so much. I raised the nut brown bowl, tasting Islay. My first ladies are the only ones to feel my laughter, sense my agings, sense this eternal country, in trust that we feel our own mercy, redefine the working day, the road life becomes survival, being so tough on too many dark, empty highways. My lovers, my family, my confidants, all reminding me of the first cuts that need to be made out there in the mid-June new moon, sun of all our journey guided by spiritual direction. Deep within the waiting redemption of my little hayfield above Buxton, their music illuminating destiny, carrying our souls, healing heritage. And Paul.
Great read there, Rex. And I hope you have some tea or water right next to you, because it sounds like you need to use that. This is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's got his wonderful signature style with the use of spacing that gives the idea of kind of slowing down and treasuring each word. Um, really thoughtful lines with amazing imagery. I like how he shows us not only the history of jazz and the importance that it has on important impact it has on musical history and society, but also the impact that it has on his own life. There's some great places and name he's thrown out here, like um Billy, Etta, and Nina. That's another great one. I mean, so many great voices. And he also brings us to those places where jazz became the voice of the people. Um, and I thought there were so many great lines throughout. Um, but I especially like the stanza that starts with concentric spirals, curated pulses, vinyl Bibles, tickets, invitations, nightclubs, and then those last like three stanzas, the nod to the first ladies of jazz, the look at family and friends, and the spiritual direction in which music will lead you into a healing heritage. So excellent write by Bear Den 7, and very well done. And Rex, you did a wonderful read of that. Your thoughts?
Oh. He did note in his on the back end, try to find the slow tempo here. I knew that's where he was going as I looked at this, but I didn't realize it was a long piece. So that's what kind of set my the tickle in my throat off. And
I get
yeah,
that.
it is that idea of slowing the tempo of the world down to listen to, enjoy, and reflect on that which calls to you, the music itself. Because he hits on like almost a silent field, wandering Georgia on my mind. Nice touch with that. And then the dry threshing floors. Um, that had me thinking of Killing Floor, which is an old blues song. And then that note, we sit in audience, in places, in echoes, in inward registrations, music. We were meant to speak, sense, touch, bonded by potential. And then I thought, and I hear Sarah, Billy, Etta reaching out to rejected sunlight, and Nina, and Dinah, and Carmen. Uh, it's reflecting on the music itself and the places, because he does it on East Third Street, brightness, angels keeping heavens, living, glowing rhythm alive in there, closer than here, through cone doors. Then you've got the paths of life's journey. As you got barefoot Zen, true gifts holding white payments, remind us of what is held so dear. What else we got? Then a thing, lessons, dancing, inhaling all that jazz, and those distant close internal embers. Uh, quit doing that. Weather, carrying wind-borne narrations, always igniting what always burns in our movable, elemental, torrential heaven. And
Absolutely.
all in that note up in the hayfield above Buxton. I like that.
Great comment, Rex. Great comment, and very cool. Thank you. All right. And what do we have next?
Perceptions Causeway Calisthenics by Eric Svensson.
By Eric Svensson. And let me get back to where I need to be, and I'll give that a read. All right. Do, 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 do. Mind bulb switches on upstairs, relays ideas to big heart downstairs. Right leg exclaims, left leg questions, sums and parts, and the greater whole perceptions, causeway, calisthenics. Read the idea, heart takes the cue, exclamation mark questions the next move. Healthy body, healthy mind, red letter day if you don't get the message. Sums and parts and the greater whole, perceptions causeway, calisthenics. Make haste, grab modernity by the scruff of the neck. Time is money, brevity is the soul of wit. Inspire, admire, get the picture, by the concept, less is more, jettison excess. A smart picture tells 1,000 words, sums and parts, and the greater whole. Perception's causeway calisthenics, portmanteau of picture and dictionary, Pictionary, mind bulb moments, jump starts, red hearts. End poem. And your thoughts, Rex?
Um, that note of perception's causeway calisthenics, the idea of not delineating, so to speak. So he said, it was it read the idea, heart takes the cue, exclamation mark questions the next move. Then about healthy body, healthy mind. Read later date if you don't get the message. Sums and parts of the greater whole, perception is causeway calisthenics. Uh, there needs to be, well, with that note, the light bulb going off the brain. There should be that note of the brain always in control, as opposed to just letting the feet walk off in one direction, heart in another direction, and everybody's leaving the mind in its own singularity without paying attention to the fact that, hey, you can't have all of that without that which controls all of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Yeah, I thought this was an amazing write by Eric. Really thoughtful and hard hitting lines. I like how it speaks on the idea that you have to see both the individual parts and the big picture, that there has to be this connection between your mind, your heart, and your body. Um, and I really like too that there's that this gives a nod to me to the graphic designs of Paul Rand, especially with some of these lines like make haste, grab modernity by the scruff of the neck, time is money, brevity is the soul of wit, and then less is more, jettison excess, a smart picture tells 1,000 words. Like I like that has that message there of what can you get people to understand with the right image. What messages can you get across? And the idea that art not only needs to tickle our fancy, but really speak to our mind and speak to our heart. And that's the way graphic design works. When you design a logo for a company, it has to be something that people relate to, not only on an intellectual level, but also an emotional level. So, excellent write by Eric Svensson, and very well done. And that was the last of our Paul Rand writes. And now we are going to go into poetry that I ran an 8 spots only pre-write contest for, with an image that I got from publicdomainpictures.net, which is of a kind of like a close-up of an old worn out fence painted multiple colors. And with that being said, what do we got next, Rex?
Threesome Less by Macris. Across our two valleys fell a heated rain. Lightning stitched bright seams across his plain. Mountains pressed against our peaks in the dark. Every ridge strung tight, allowing us our mark. Storms moved in slow with a burning need. Silver tongues unlaced where our bodies meet. Rivers loosening their grip into the sea. Jealous land watching, its wish to be free. Not what you think, I said into the gale, thunder rolling slowly through hill and vale, rain cut finding every hollow ground, silence spreading fingers through all I found. Not what you think, while lightning split the sky, a sharp cracked echo where the clouds divide, emotions open wide into this flood, roots now awake and drinking from the mud. Not what you think, but he still turns away. Clear skies a lie that this would be okay. Changing winds passing soft across the seam. yet stirs the sleeping ache beneath the green. Weather went restless, tearing at its skin, lawless and loud, breaking what had been. Rivers rose higher than their own beds, guilt came down hard, hammering their heads. Not what you think, my voice turned thin in rain, words dropped heavy, then rose up again. As I watched you catch her valley light, my storm inside cut sharp through the night. Dawn exposed the sky, open as a scar, feeling so different as if we'd gone too far. Not what you think, until it was all through. Not jealous of her, never feeling you. And boom.
Great read there, Rex. Oh, this is such a fabulous write by Macris. I like the way she has her stanzas kind of slightly move back and forth. I always appreciate that in a poem. The rhyme and flow in this is great. It's got wonderful use of repetition to drive the point home. Amazing imagery and metaphors, and I like that she keeps a consistency in tone. I like how this is a write that speaks to me on desire that can take over and become a destructive force. When the idea of that, when obsession um, uh, destroys your life, when the idea that the your dream of something is better than the reality of it. I thought there was great lines throughout. But I especially like not what you think, but he still turns away. Clear skies a lie that this would be okay. Changing winds passing soft across the seam, yet stirs the sleeping ache beneath the green. Weather went restless, tearing at its skin, lawless and loud, breaking what has been. Rivers rose higher than their own beds. Guilt came down hard, hammering their heads. The not only the language choice in this, but the title "Threesome Less" has me thinking of the idea when a person brings up the idea of a threesome because either they think it will fix a broken relationship or because they basically want permission to cheat. Now, if it's something that a couple wants, like they both agree on it, then that's absolutely fine. But this speaks to me in the idea of either trying to fix something that's broken or saying, I'd like to cheat on you, but I'm going to do it in such a way that I look like I'm the good person. But wonderful write by Macris and very well done. And Rex, you did a great read of that. Your thoughts?
Well, the title says something, but you don't know what until you get into it. But the main thought is not what you think. I said into the gale. Again, not what you think while lightning split the sky. This was that note of the threesome, yet she is feeling threesome less by the end of it because it hits on that idea. Be careful of what you wish for and what you desire. It will never turn out the way you think it does. And that's what you got, not what you think. And she finishes out with dawn exposed the sky, opened as a scar, feeling so different as we'd gone too far. Not what you think until it was all through. Not jealous of her, but never feeling you. Back to you.
All right, all right. Great comment there, Rex. Um, and yeah, so very cool, very cool. All right. What do we got next?
The Power of Imagination by Bebert.
All right. Well, let me just grab that and you know, and put that in. All right. The wonderful world of ingenuity, boundless creativity from within, originality in its true form, bursting with innovation and imaginativeness, a brainstorm unleashing the power of the unconscious. End poem.
I think that picture says it all. He just gave voice to it. It is true, that last one. A brainstorm unleashing the power of unconscious. That bited what lingers in the mind, the subconscious, the unconscious, until it finally gets the illumination it needs because all the pieces fall in at the right time. The puzzle fits, and all of a sudden, the idea blooms. Nice.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Yeah, I thought this was a wonderful brevity, a very ekphrastic piece, inspired by that artwork that it was in the original contest. And I like how it speaks on the power of imagination to see all that exists beyond the ordinary. So excellent, right, by Bebert. Thank you for sharing with this with us. Very well done. All right, Rex, back to you.
All right.
If you need to
To
give
look pretty
yourself
again.
a rest, your voice a rest, I can read the next piece.
I got it. To look pretty again by Monty G25. My face displays its scars. Wounds of the past now show. Colored makeup fails to conceal what time has metered on my skin. Textures and layers, all of us will share this fate. Despite the application of masks, neither of transpansion nor new skin. The colors have failed me. Decorative, superficial repairs, cosmetic surgery carving deep, colorful device and plastics fail my ailing skin. What remains will always be. There is no remedy for me to avail. My life spent in search of many miracles. Alas, what's done is done. This will always be my skin. And poem.
Great read there, Rex. Um, and just so you know, I just sent you a message on all poetry that you can check out while I'm commenting on this poem. I did give this one the gold in the contest. To me, what I really liked about this was how Monty saw the humanity um, in this art. You know, he looked at this image of this old fence, worn out, painted all these gaudy different colors, and he saw the idea that how um, it's society really puts an importance on outer beauty rather than inner beauty. Really thoughtful lines, wonderful imagery and metaphors, a great consistency in tone. This is an excellent write that speaks on how all the makeup and plastic surgery can't stop the passing of time and can't change who a person is on the inside. That too often times we forget about what really matters is on the inside. So excellent write and very well done. And your thoughts, Rex?
Yeah, that no, cosmetic surgery carving deep. What's kind of bites at that reverse angle of uh, this is Dorian Gray, so to speak, but done in a different way, offering up that note of always looking for that cosmetic surgery to work, a colorful device and plastic fail my alien skin. So Time has run out on that note, and the revelation being now is that what you got is that kind of Dorian Gray motif, the ugliness that you tried to prevent, you have now caused.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and great comment there. So, Jojo, just to let you know, you are next. Would you like to call in to read your poem? I gotta see if, yes, he would like to call in to read his poem. Great. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him on. And then he can give that a read for us after you get it up there, Rex.
Oh.
All right. Welcome, Jojo. Glad you could join us.
Hi, Pam. Hey, Rex.
What's up?
Shall I go? Okay. All right. This is Alchemic Invocation by Jojo. Imagine you were you, or imagine you were me. Either way, your marriage is a shoelace that snapped the moment you pulled a bow. Imagine the suffocation of family, your father trading adventure for breath, still policing your skin from the grave. Either way, you're already breaking. Either way, you're already broken. Imagine you were you, or imagine you were me. Either way, your vow is a vessel, smooth silica shaped to hold desire, jagged glass to force your silence. You want to pour regret into the open air. You want to drink until you forget your shape. You swallow until the glass fogs in your hands. Outside, the snow glows blue, calm, certain, complicit. The mountain road winds toward nothing but breath. Imagine you were you, or imagine you were me. Either way, your kids are your fuel. You burn yourself alive to protect their light. You tear the sky to keep them safe. But you can't. Not like this. Not anymore. The garden reeks of smoke and salt. Their roots clutch the earth like tiny fists. You can't save them by digging. You can save them by burning. Ash rising through air like prayer. Imagine you were you, or imagine you were me. Either way, the pain in our gut drips like bright red life across white marble floors. Unkept vows, unfinished hunger. Imagine hurling them against brick, shattering reflections until we see only flame, or melt them clean with the fire of anger, or hold the shards together until the pain forgets our names. Imagine we are we, our vessels half empty, half longing. We set them side by side on white marble. We crush them both, barefoot in black velvet socks. We take the fragments in our hands and squeeze until the blood runs clear. The air fills with glass dust and breath. The snow begins to fall, fast but not forgiving. The mountain road demands we drive. Imagine the flame at the lip of the glass, the breath that feeds it, the first light below the fire. End poem.
Great read there, Jojo. I'm glad you shared this in the contest. Thank you very much. And Rex, your thoughts?
Damn. I like that note. Imagine you are you, or imagine you are me. The duality there. So I'm going to go husband and wife, considering you hit on that note of marriage. Plus, you've got the thought of you got family rolled into this, and it all hits on that which gets broken. So you've got there's cheating going on, and there's notes of how it reflects on not just you both, or you singly, or her singly, or even the children, and how it affects the whole family. And you've got what's else you got? What was it? Either way, the pain in our gut drips like bright red light across white marble floors. Unkept vows, unfinished hunger. Imagine hurling them against a brick, shattering every reflection until we see only flame, or melt them clean with the fire of our anger, or hold the shards together until the pain forgets our names. Each note that stands kind of walks that note of the pain brought, but also the consequences that get delivered because of the actions that were taken. And you might forgive, but you don't ever let those consequences uh, fall by the wayside, because there has to be some note of accountability. Otherwise, it's all for naught. And it does that note of that down here. Imagine we are we. Our vessels half empty, half longing. We set them side by side on white marble. We crush them both, barefoot in black velvet socks. We take the fragments in our hands and squeeze until the blood runs clear. The air fills with glass, dust, and breath. The snow begins to fall, fast but not forgiven. The mountain road demands we drive. There's a quiet note, maybe coming to terms with what happened and how it happened, and dealing with that note to squeeze until the blood runs clear. Is that idea of getting the dark out so that you can both see clearly in the moment, and that is where you can now drive. Because if you don't if you don't see that clearness, you're still running on that heat, the anger, and that's only going to corrupt even further.
Great observations there, Rex. Very cool. I like that. I like that. Yeah, this has a great use of repetition. Oh, by the way, Jojo, stick around because we are going to end the show with Monarch's Right, and after I'm done commenting on yours, and I'm most certain she would love to have a comment from both you and Rex. So
certainly.
Yes, yes. Visceral imagery and metaphor, like I said, great use of repetition. I like how this does seem to be, to me, about a journey of growth and healing, and the idea of the process of transformation that happens when one walks through the fire, how the pain can cause hurt and damage, but facing that pain is part of the process of that change, that healing. And I think that message there, to me, like your image choices, with the mention of jagged glass to force your silence, I felt like this was definitely a good choice of a pre-write to share in this contest, because there is this idea of change and this idea of brokenness that I think is a great reflection on the prompt image. So excellent write and very well done. Did you want to say anything about your write?
Between you and Rex, I think you got like 80 or 90%. So yeah, I was definitely practicing repetition, but I was also
that to me is a passing grade, so I'll take it.
Excellent.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, thank you. I was also trying to practice kind of an incantatory kind of a voice. So it's trying to be a little bit of an incantation, I guess.
I like that. Very cool. Very cool. All right, Rex, back to you.
You got hatched unaware by Monarch's soul.
And we do have a SoundCloud for this, so I will go grab that. Make sure I'm at the right place. All right.
A paper orange hatched beneath my tongue, where the door opened onto the cursed ship, folded into sunsets on leaden wings. Ivory tears rise from an inkwell, carried beneath steaming snow, Sinking sparrows sing. Satin trellis bare fangs, buried in yesterday's pocket. Tomorrow dives back, spinning free of clouds, melting on frost-bitten tongues, darkness unaware.
Wonderful read and write there, Monarch. And thank you for the SoundCloud. It is very much appreciated. This poem was her first attempt at abstract surrealism, and I thought it was just an absolutely fabulous first attempt. I gave her the silver in this contest. And John, your thoughts?
No, come back to me.
Okay. Do you hear that, Rex? The wheels on the bus go round and round. All right, Rex, your thoughts.
All right. Well, the opening, a paper orange hatched beneath my tongue. The first thing I thought of was Orange Sunshine, and especially with that next two line, where the door opened onto the cursed ship, and then folded in sunsets on leaden wings. That note of a trip that opened up, but she hits on tongues twice, frostbitten tongues, darkness unaware. So I'm going to go with the paper orange, the hatch beneath my tongue. It hints at something sweet, but might not be. The door opens onto a cursed ship, so you right there. You go from sweet into a sharp, maybe bitter angle, even though you're still holding on to that note of a sunset, which is supposed to be another sweet edifice. And then again, you hit right into the ivory tears rise from an inkwell. So that inkwell, well, my guess would be a letter to be written. Uh, the steaming snow, singing sparrows sing. The steaming snow offers up that idea of anger in the moment. The singing sparrows sing is sorrowful. So the satin trellis bears fangs. Again, that note of something which is a little harsh in the moment, but the satin offers up that note of that which is treasured, something soft, something luxuriant, yet it bears fangs buried in yesterday's pocket. So there's regrets there. Uh, Tomorrow dives back, spinning free of clouds. The idea of uh, what one wishes for tomorrow, that's wishful thinking because you have to live in today. And so the sort of melting on frostbitten tongues, darkness unaware, kind of has me walking into the note of the frostbitten tongue. Is again that idea of uh, something harsh. Yes, it's something which is held now. So the idea of what was that the ivory tears rise from inkwell, that and that the letter not written. Someone who's taking that note of biting their tongue in the moment because you don't want to offer up already more pain than is already bearing.
I like that. I like that. Great observations there, Rex. Very cool. Very cool. And now,
Well, I'm probably
John,
wrong
I'm going
because
to call on you. And
Monarch's
if
very
you're at a
sneaky
lack
in her
of
voices.
anything to say, just do what the rest of us do after Rex leaves a long comment. Say, yeah, what he said. So,
Monarch often brings poems to me for editorial input. But she was writing this last night right before Books and Bards started, so she only had like an hour or something, and so I had no input on this other than her sort of sending me drafts of it, and so this is definitely an abstract surreal piece, and that was absolutely what she was going for. She has a collection of origami poems that she has been doing, and I kind of can't help but think that maybe this is the next iteration in her origami collection. The paper orange folded beneath the tongue kind of gives me the idea of, folded orange paper. And the bird reference, the ship reference. I'm not sure. Maybe a paper boat or a paper bird. The folded into sunsets, kind of harkens, kind of points toward origami. So I'm kind of thinking that this is her next origami poem. But it is very definitely abstract and very definitely surreal. And so I think that makes it perhaps intentionally uninterpretable in any kind of a poetic analysis kind of a fashion. I think it's maybe supposed to present some images that maybe are origami based, but is really intentionally kind of abstract and surreal to leave the reader with a sequence of emotions and images that kind of stick with them. And so I think that's, to me, the strength of this poem, folded into sunsets on leaden wings. Satin trellis, bare fangs buried in yesterday's pocket. Just lots of just gorgeous imagery. But I also get the sense that there's an element of creation here, not only from the title, but ivory tears rise from an inkwell. So perhaps this is also maybe tied in with her poetry, and so I think it's definitely metal-worthy and interesting, and it's evocative. It just brings out a lot of images and emotional kind of responses for me, and I think that's what she was going for.
Oh, absolutely. I like that. Great comment. Yeah, I love the imagery in this. That is one of my absolute favorite things about surrealism and abstract, is that it can be open to interpretation. Wonderful imagery and metaphors, beautifully written couplets. I'm glad we got to hear this in her voice. This speaks to me on fake sweetness and sharp words that need to be cast aside. Like, I can definitely see what you're saying, John, about being the first line being a reference to origami, and that works really well. But yeah, the paper orange to me represents fake sweetness, and the fact that she, as Rex mentioned, she says tongue twice. It's that idea of what comes off of the tongue. Satin trellis bears fangs buried in yesterday's pocket. That's a particularly strong line, speaking on the impact that words have when somebody pretends to be gentle and sweet, but the truth eventually comes out when their fangs are bared. So excellent write by Monarch Soul, and very well done. Well, this has been an awesome show tonight. A great lineup of poetry. We'll have 3 carryovers for next break on through, which will be Randa Yazuri, Eric Svensson, and an extra one from T.S. Jojo. And as always, Rex, thank you for being an amazing co-host. Thank you, Jojo and Robbie, for calling in. Thank you, Macris and Monty and Vazago and everybody else who hung on the board or listened in. Thank you to everyone who provided rights for the show, is listening now, or will be listening later. We truly appreciate you all. Make sure to keep an eye out on the contests and topic boards put up by late night poets, hosts and hostesses, because you're sure to find something to inspire. There will be no after midnight show tonight, because there never is. But I figured I'd say that in case anybody thought there was. But you can join Fill My Eyes and Intimitus Rex for open poetry on Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. And with that being said, have a wonderful night, everyone. Have a wonderful night, Rex and Jojo.
Good night,
Bye-bye,
gang.
everybody. Good night.